Hi everybody, welcome to your ankle and foot mobility class. In this class we're going to work on strengthening the ankles in relation to rotations, flexion and plantar flexion. Okay, so let's start. The first thing we're going to start with is controlled articular actions. And we will start with dorsum and plantar flexion. So if you wish to lie down for this, I'm going to sit up. You'll be able to see me better. If you wish to sit up like me, you can hook your elbow under your knee. So your leg, I'm going to start with my left leg, is just suspended in the air. So let's just start here. We're just assessing how our ankle wants to move. So draw the toes skyward, dorsiflexion, and point the toes down. And this is plantar flexion. So again, continue the two movements. And just notice what muscles move when you create the two actions. So when you point the foot, you'll probably notice the muscles in the back of the calf engage. And when you flex the foot up, you'll notice the muscle here, your tibialis anterior on the front of the shin, start to engage. Yeah? Nice. So from here we're going to make little U shapes, little half circles, and again exploring your end range. So the idea is we're using these articulations to assess and explore and to also maintain range of movement. But it's really important to work in your pain-free threshold and also to work in a place where your movements are your own. So they're as irregular as they need to be. So in this U shape, you may not make the perfect U. You may go over to, let's say, the outside or the inside, and then go, that not hurt. And what do? So you back off any pain rather than drive through. So staying in your pain-free range of movement, allowing your shapes to be as regular as they need to be. And now making circles, and again, your circles can be as large or small as they need to be, so that your actions can be smooth. And again, your circles can still be irregular as well, especially if you're going into any pain. And then changing the direction. And then come down, change sides, hook your elbow under your knee, and again starting with plantar flexion, dorsiflexion. We'll do this a few times, feeling again into your end range and how the movements translate through your calf muscles. If you feel any restrictions or blocks or any pain. And then from here, U shapes. And again, feeling into your movement. One of the good things about sitting in this position is you can put the opposite hand to your knee of your leg that's moving, just to make sure that your movement is completely from the ankle and that there's no extrinsic movement from the thigh as you hold your knee still. And then making circles. Again, allowing your movements to be as small or as big as they need to be. And again, as irregular as they need to be to stay in your pain-free range of movement. Notice any jerkiness in your movements. And then changing into the other direction. Great, and then back to the first side. So here we'll just kick onto the left heel and we'll do inversion, eversion. So again, you can stabilize the knee with your hands and then Draw the little toe away from the outer knee, sending the sole of the foot inwards. So this is inversion. And then from there, rolling to the inside of the heel and drawing the big toe mound away from the inner knee for eversion. And then a couple more times. And again, feeling into your range. And then also just, even though I've mentioned little toe mound, big toe mound, when you're inverting, moving from the whole lateral edge of the foot and as you contract the whole of the medial side. So here now you're going to be moving from the whole lateral medial side of the foot as opposed to just the front of the foot. And then again, feeling what muscles move. So you're going to have some of the muscles working here will be in the actual foot, intrinsic feet muscles, others, and then of course you're going to be, again, moving your calf muscles with these actions. As you evert, you're going to be contracting your outer calf, your fibularis longus and brevis. As you invert, again, the tibialis anterior that dorsiflexes the foot also helps to invert. Good. And of course, some of our calf muscles run down into the foot as well. Okay, let's try the other side. Kick onto the heel, stabilize the knee. Inversion, eversion, inversion, eversion. So you should feel your feet and calf muscles active. Don't expect both sides to be even. Maybe they are, maybe they aren't. So just the point is to explore. Okay, very good. Okay, so from here now we are, now that we've explained our controlled articular actions, we're going to resist the inversion and eversion. So for that you're going to need a band, a resistance band. If you don't have them, a towel or some piece of material would also be fine. It's good to have a little bit of a spring, but it's actually not necessary. A yoga belt would also do. So coming back to kick onto your left heel now, and then holding your belt or your band around your foot, and we'll just hold here with the right hand, and we'll work on eversion. So big toe mound away and back, away and back. So it's the away action that we're strengthening, and you're resisting by pulling the band towards you with your hand. 7, 6, and again, moving from the heel, not just to the big toe mound. 5, keep the knee stable. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Take the band over to the other side. Stabilize the knee. Pull the foot so that it wants to evert and then invert. 1, 2, 3, 7 more, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Nice. Okay, let's come back to the other side. Taking your band or belt around your foot and holding with the opposite hand to foot, and then we're working on eversion, pulling the foot so that the sole of the foot wants to sickle into the midline, and then push your big toe mound away. Stabilize the knee, forward, and again. 7 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so from here, taking your knee, your belt, turn the foot, and draw big toe foot away, and here you're going to be turning the sole of the foot in. So resisting with your band and turning in and back, in and back, in and back. 7 more. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Great. And you can come to a seat. Okay, so in those articulations, you got the feeling how the calf muscles connect into the arches of the feet to support the arches of the feet. And those calf muscles specifically here are on the back of the calf and actually on the front of the calf. So your tibialis anterior is connected here to your big toe mound, and when it contracts, it lifts the inner arch up. But also on the back of the calf, you have your tibialis posterior, and that also wraps here around the inner ankle directly into your inner arch, helping to lift. However, in addition to the calf, the intrinsic feet muscles also help to stabilise the arch. So we actually have to stabilise the muscles of the feet as well. So how do we do that? Well, we do it with a little grip. So first of all, we're going to start with it sitting down. You can kick onto both heels and spread your toes. And for some people, this is easier than others. Yeah, I like a good spread of the toes, but sometimes people feel it hard. If you wish, you could run your fingers through and just release in between, and maybe claw and release with your fingers through a few times. Of course, in myofascial release, as we open and waken up the plantar fascia, this can improve. But yeah, so here we want to claw our feet, and now we'll take our feet to the ground. Lift your toes. Spread, press them down. Good. And again, lift your toes, spread, and press them down. Good. Nice. Okay, so if you come up to standing, and we're going to do this standing up, so you can take your feet up width, lift your toes, spread, and then press them down, and just feel into how activated your feet and calves feel. And then I'd like you to claw the ground with your toes a little bit. Yeah, and when you do that, you may feel your arches respond by drawing up into your body, which is what we want. And in yoga we call this the Pada Bandha. The Pada Bandha is the slight clawing of the toes to help activate the 3 arches of the feet. So those arches are your medial longitudinal, you have your inner arch, your lateral longitudinal from the little toe to the outer foot. And then you also have this small stirrup arch connecting the two across the center of the foot, like so. So again, when you lift the feet, spread the toes, press down and claw the feet, you'll start to feel the mark. Okay. So now we're going to bring that in we'll do one straight leg standing pose called pyramid. But again, if you were to take this onto a yoga mat, this will follow in all straight leg standing postures. So the pose we'll do is pyramid. If you wish, you can take a brick under your hands and take your feet about 3 feet apart. And both knees should be straight. And if that's hard for you, as we say, just prop your hands on bricks. So once again, we're going to focus on this front leg. So notice here how easy it is, especially if you hyperextend and lose the arches of your feet, which those two imbalances tend to go together. So if you have dropped inner arches, you may find yourself just locking back on the knee at the moment. And so the whole back of the calf is inactive, and you have lost your muscle tone, and the weight of your body is falling into your joints. Now we'll just start with the Pada Bandha from a locked out knee. Lift your toes, spread, clench the feet, and you'll feel some activation in the foot. But that's only half the equation. So from the other half is now you're going to hug the back of the calf forward onto the shin bone. Now you may to activate the back of your calves. As you claw the ground,
You may feel when you do that your knee wants to bend a little bit, but actually it doesn't have to bend at all. Yeah? That basically you are hugging the back of the calf forward, clawing the ground. Now tip forward and take your back leg in the air and just bring this to a balance. So you're starting to load that leg now that is activated through the pata bandha, through the back of the calf, up into your core. And then you can step your back leg back. Let's change sides. Take your right leg forward, stepping your back foot back. And again, so let's just lock out the knee a little bit. So just allow your leg muscles to go lax. And if you're a hyperextender, you'll have done that anyway. From here, lift your toes, spread them wide, and then press the spread toes into the ground, claw a little bit, feel the core activation come into the into the foot. And again, noticing they're on, but they're not on 100%. So from here, hug the back of the calf forward onto the shin bone. You'll notice your hips moving forward just a little bit. And then keep clawing in as you hug the back of the calf forward, sending a little bit more weight to the front of the foot. And you'll notice your calf activation increase. Let's tip forward here, take your back leg up, loading your front leg as you engage the pata bandha on the bottom foot. And then from here, step your back leg back and come to standing. Okay, so on the next section, we're going to work with ankle dorsiflexion. And where I see this most with people as being a yoga teacher is in their squats, in their malasana squats or regular squats, or in their skandasana or surfer squats. So yeah, maybe you're someone who does yoga, maybe you're someone who doesn't. But even if not, for sure you're going to be squatting down to get into that bottom shelf sometimes, yeah? So are you someone that has to kick your heels off the ground, or can you keep your heels down? So why can't people squat? So a lot of the time people talk about feeling a compression here at the front of the ankle, inhibiting their knees to draw forward enough. And so that is the symptom. Yeah, but it's not necessarily the cause. So the cause is tightness in the back of the calf. Again, it's coming back to, could be any of the calf muscles, but the tibialis posterior is the deeper calf muscle. It's the stabilizing muscle. And for some people, it can become just locked out with tension. It can lock out in a lengthened state. So even though it's holding a lot of tension, it's not contracting your arches up with the tension. In fact, it's doing the opposite. It's just kind of collapsed because of the tension. It's not doing its job properly, therefore, of lifting your arches. And so basically, you may find that if you have dropped arches at the back of your heels, may have a problem reaching the ground in your squats as well, for the same reason that it is tight, weak tibialis posterior muscle. So before we go into our squat, well, let's actually take the squat as an assessment. Yeah, so let's do it here. No props. Well, if you wish, you could take hands on bricks. So take your feet hip width. If you wish, a little bit wider than hip width. And try and square the heels. But if you have to, just allow the toes, heels come in and toes come out. And then from here, start to drop into your squat and see if you can hold your squat, hold your malasana pose with the heels on the ground. So I'm guessing now that some of you may be a little bit more like this, more Charlie Chaplin feet, and then some of you may also be or up here on your toes, and you're like, that's my end range. So wherever you are, I'd like you to just note where you are. So again, this is your assessment pose. So then come down onto your bum. And we'll do a little drill to open out the front of the ankle. So let's start pulling the right heel into the groin. Take your left heel under your left knee. Tip forward onto your right knee, left heel. Use your hands if you need. Okay, so just start dragging passively, taking your hands onto your knee and just leaning in. Yeah, so this is, just a lean where you are putting more weight down onto the ankle in this deeper dorsiflexion than you're used to. And you're going to feel, even though your heel is going to want to come off the ground, you're not allowing it to, but you are driving your knee forward, keeping your knee in line with your toes. You will find some compression here, so there'll be a point like definitely don't go into pain, but you want to go to the edge of pain. Yeah, you allow yourself to feel a little bit of discomfort. That's where the changes are made, but you don't have to exert pain. And then from even here, you don't have to passively lean as well. You can toe a little bit, yeah? And notice when you do that, you'll be activating the muscle that you're releasing, yeah? So let's do some toe close release, yeah, while we're here. So let's, you can keep the toes on the ground, make it easier. So claw the ground, can you feel that tibialis posterior in the back of the calf now contract? And then release it down. Contract, clawing your toes, and release. Claw, release. Keep driving it forward. Claw, release. Claw, release. Claw, release. And you're actively trying to lift the arches of the feet as you claw. Claw, release. Claw, release. Claw, release. Claw, release. And claw, release. Nice, guys. Come back down. Let's take it to the other side. Left heel into the groin, right heel under your knee, tipping forward. Use your hands to climb up if you need. Interlock your hands to your knee and drive that knee forward in line with your toes. Good. And then just feeling into it. Again, feeling into your end range. Breathing. Giving your ankle your weight as you tip your knee forward, not allowing your heel to come off the ground. So here we're not clawing, it's just a passive stretch. So this is the difference between passive and active stretching. So when we claw, we're activating the stretch, we're making it active, but here we're just going to hold the passive, just allowing the connective tissue of the tibialis posterior and back of the ankle to release. And then we're going to go into our activating in a moment. And it may seem contradictory to you to contract the muscle that you want to release, but actually it's not. Because really what we're doing is we're waking it up, we're creating responsiveness as well. So what we're doing is as we strengthen it, we're also creating a deeper end range. That's how we're doing it. This relates to what we call PNF stretching, where as we activate the Golgi tendons of the muscles, the tendinous region at the ends of the muscle, that it does create more flexibility, but also in that we're strengthening the muscle because we're contracting it at the same time. Okay, so let's go for it. So claw, release, keep leaning, claw, unclaw, claw, unclaw, claw, unclaw, claw, unclaw. 6 more. Claw, release, claw, release, claw, release. You may even find you're tipping forward a little bit more and more. Claw, release, claw as you control. So how that's working is by you clawing and you're controlling your stretch. And you're sending a signal to your nervous system saying, actually, I got this in range, I'm in control here. And the nervous system says, okay, I'll give you another millimeter. It's amazing how it works. So it's like, in a way, you're hacking the nervous system, I guess, but you could also say you're learning how to tune in, is the other way. Learning about the intelligence in your body. Last one, claw and release. Okay, coming back onto the heel. Let's change sides. Rolling up, and this time we're going to just move with it. So forward and back, forward and back, keeping the heel on the ground. Forward and back, forward and back, tipping forward and back, forward and back. You can keep a little claw while you're here, why not? Forward and back, forward and back, forward and back. 3 more. 1, 2, and 3. Nice, guys. Good job. Take it to the other side.
forward. Oh, I might wait a moment. Excellent. Sorry about the lawnmower. Sunny day, so we have, I think my husband's probably in the garden doing some gardening, so I'm on 3 now, so forward and back, 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 forward and back. 3 more, guys. 3, 2, and 1. Nice. Okay. So from here, I'm sorry about the noise. I'll see if I can get him to switch it off. Let's try that Malasana again. So from here, prop yourself up and see if you can come into your squat. And you may find it has improved. You still, like most people when they take their toes out, well, it can be indicative of just the general postural holding pattern from the hip. But it can also be to compensate dorsiflexion here on the front of the ankle. So ideally not, but if you need to, that's okay as well. You can start to take your toes narrower over time. And also when you take the foot in, it's not just, it's going to internally rotate your leg as well. So you'll find yourself, you want to contract your inner thighs more, yeah? You want to take your feet wide enough so your ribs can be on the inside of your legs, but you need to contract your inner thighs to the midline as well. Okay. And calm down. So for people who just weren't able to manage that even with the toes out, you have a couple of options. You could take a block, like not a brick like this, but a smaller block. You could roll up your mat under your heels. That would probably be the best thing to do. So you just have a little bit of height for your heel. I would actually recommend you do a 4-minute hold. So you could, pause this video now if this is something you want to work on. And you actually hold for 4 minutes, which is like the average time for a yin stretch, yeah? So you would do a 4-minute squat, and if this is something that you need to do to develop your plantar flexion, and set your timer, etc. Now, another thing that you can do rather than raise your mat is that if you have a radiator in front of you, if you place yourself on a radiator and come into your squat, and then hook your hands underneath your radiator and pull yourself forward. So you're using your radiator or whatever, something stable, your couch or whatever it is, to help tip you forward in order to compress the front of the ankle here a little bit more. And of course, maintaining your claw. And this will help you develop your Malasana. And you can use your prop here for your 4-minute hold. Okay, so you can come back onto your bum, and the next thing we're going to work on is toe extension. And we're actually going to go back to the last drill because it works very nicely with this one. So let's start taking the right heel into your groin once again, left heel under your left knee, tip forward as before, and lean, yeah, so same again. And then we're going to sprinkle our hands, roll up onto the ball of the sole of the foot, and then draw your knee down. Now, if it doesn't reach the ground, you can have your knee hovering, or you could take a block under your knee. Okay, and we just hold here. And then slowly come back. Good. And now we're going to do it in a rock. So lean and forward and back. Lean, forward and back. And then all the way back and forward and back and forward. 8 more. Back and forward and back and forward. And back, forward, and back, forward, 3 more, and back, forward, and back, forward and back, and forward. Nice, guys. And then change side. Left heel into groin, take your right heel under your knee, and then make your way up onto your left knee, right heel, lean, sprinkle hands, and forward. And then we'll hold this one. A few breaths, deep exhales. And then slowly come back, and then we'll do our lean. So coming forward, tipping and knee to the ground, and then slowly back. And come forward and back. 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 And forward and back. Nice. Okay, great. Okay. So from here, some of you will find if you have, especially if you've got bunions or even just more tightness on the inside of the foot, that will inhibit your tipping forward for the rest of your feet. So a nice exercise that you can do here is if you take a block and put it to your wall, and then from here you can take your big toe onto your block and draw your big toe mound onto the ground. And then from here you're going to lean the knee forward and back, lean, back, lean, back, lean, back, lean, and back. 5 more. Nice. Take the other foot in. Again, big toe mound on the ground. And then lean forward and back. 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 5 more. 4, 3, 2, and 1, and back. So back to the first side, and this time you're going to take all 5 toes down and then drive the knee forward and back, forward and back, forward and back, forward and back, forward and back. 5 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and back. Step the other foot forward and bring all toes down. And then tipping forward, forward and back, forward and back, forward and back, forward and back, forward and back. 5 more. Forward and back, forward and back, forward and back, forward and back. Last one. Forward and back. Good. Okay, so you can take your brick with you back to your mat. And here we're going to do a pose called toe stand.
And you can do this with no props at all. I mean, some of you may know your toe stand already if you need to prop. So if you would like a prop, if you have like a foam roller or a rolled up yoga mat or a blanket rolled up, if you're going to use a blanket, like a hard blanket is better than a soft blanket. And then from here, you can give yourself a little bit of support, especially if there's problems with your toe extension, and just give yourself a little bit of a prop. You can take your hands on 2 bricks. So some of your weight, as you sit back onto your heel, some of your weight is going to be propped up by your bolster or your prop. And you can hold here, or you can take your bricks behind you and then just lean back. So as you lean back, you're putting more weight onto your toe extension. Nice. And then slowly come out. Okay, great. So if there are any toe issues there, you know, toe stand can be a hard one, but it really is about building up that movement and trying to keep it in your daily exercise regime. Okay, great. Okay, so now we're going to go on to ankle plantar flexion. I'm going to keep this here. I'm going to use it. So the assessment pose that we're going to use here is hero pose. Virasana, some of you will know it as, and some of you may wish to take a block. So I have one here. So if you're going to use blocks for this, you could use like the bricks if you needed to. It's ideal, in an ideal world, you have these, just because they'll fit under both buttocks. And we're going to go in both feet at a time. And some people find this excruciating. When we do our knee program, we're going to be working towards lying back on it, but again, I'll show you how to prop it. But yeah, for sure, lying back is harder again. So let's just try sitting. So I'll use a block, and it's important if you're using a block for Virasana to have your heels at the front of your block and your toes at the back of your block so that you can lift your block up, yeah? And then you can take the flesh of your calves out to the side as you sit down on your block in between your feet. And here you're assessing your ankles. Now some people may have knee pain. Some people might go, oh no, that hurts my knee, and please go into it nice and slowly, and you don't want to aggravate knees. So if for now you are feeling pain in the knee, what I would do would just be to raise your seat. So the higher your seat is, the less pressure on the knee. You could also take a yoga belt, double it up, and put it from here. Take your yoga belt in behind the back of the knee, pull it forward and sit back. And that just creates a little bit of space around the meniscus in the knee, as you so you don't have your tibia and femur bones rubbing off each other, which can give this sharp, jaggy pain. Yeah. So, but actually sitting on a block will probably do the same thing. So you can do either or. And if you feel if your knees feel okay and you feel all right in this pose, you could even, like if you're someone who felt pretty good in it, you could maybe take your block away and just sit with your bum on the ground in between your 2 heels. You don't want to curl your toes in, your toes are in line with your heels, and this is your pose. Okay, good. So now we're going to work towards, we'll do a little bit of plantar flexion release.
So you can come out and just make your way to a seat. I'm going to do a little bit of plantar flexion drills and then we'll go back and we'll try hero pose again. Okay, so your first drill is knee lifts in hero, but in this hero, we're going to just sit on the bum. It's a little bit easier. So you can sit with your heels on your bum and we're going to lift the knees. So from here, I'd like you to place your hands on brakes if you wish, and then just lift your left knee up in the air. So you'll notice you're increasing the plantar flexion through your left foot, and the feet in the back of your calf and the sole of the foot, the muscles in the sole of the foot are activating again. So you can even curl your toes off the ground to increase that activation, and down and up and down. So we'll do 6 more, up and down and up and down and up and down and up and down and up and down. Last one, and up and down. Okay, other side. Lift and down and up and down and up and down, up and down. 4 more. 4, down, 3, down, 2, down, and 1, down. Okay, now we're going to see if we can balance there. So lifting up and then taking your hands to your knee. Now this can be a little bit harder, and what you could do, I'm lucky I have a half soft foam roller, but you could also use a blanket. So I'm just going to take this as a prop. So put something soft under the front of your ankle can be very nice for this, and you still get a lovely opening. So taking the foot up and balance, or the foot on the ground and down, and taking the other foot up to balance. And then from here, tipping both knees up. And again, a little bit of a raise underneath your feet is quite nice. Take both hands onto your knees. You're going to have to engage your core here too. And then holding for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and down. Great. So we're going to do it again. I'll take my prop away, make it a little bit harder. Nice. And roll up, and then hands to knees if you wish. Holding for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and slowly calming down. Nice. Okay, great. So that's your plantar flexion. So let's go and try our hero again. So from here, you can come forward onto your knees, head to the ground, take the flesh of the calves out, and sit back down. And maybe you feel a little bit cozier now with the front of your ankle nice and open. So one of the reasons, especially for women, that this area can be tight is actually water retention relating to the menstrual cycle. For certain types, not for all women, tends to be more kapha-dosha women who retain water around their cycle. So this pose is also great for just tired, heavy legs, getting the circulation going, especially if you've got a stand-up job. Yeah, it can be hard at first just to get used to a feeling of compression through the legs, but it's actually really, really good for the legs as well. Okay, fab. So now we're going to go on to toe flexion, and it's very similar to our plantar flexion, our ankle plantar flexion. We're just going to bring it up a little bit higher this time.
So this time we'll take 2 bricks on either side of our hero with your bum on your heels. And you can lift, lean forward, connect into your upper core, dome through the upper back a little bit, and then just lift up and take your knees up, and you're right up here on your toes and down. Good. So we're going to do that 9 more times. So inhale up and down and 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 up and down. 5 more, up and down and up and down and up and down and up and down and up. Last one. And down. Good. And you can just sit down for a few breaths. Let's face it, that's core work as well as toe flexion work. This is a supported bell pose, Talasana supported bell pose. So working with the knees bent, tipping forward, keeping the round moving from our upper core for sure is a bit of a workout. This one, if you want, it's like quite an advanced toe flexion one. It's the same again, but you're just trying to straighten your legs a little bit more. So if that's available for you, we'll just do 5, okay? So same again, connecting into your core, lean forward, push down to your bricks, and inhale, take a low sitting on the bricks, sorry, and then inhale up, and down, and up, and down. 3 more. Good. Good, last one. Nice, okay. So yeah, that can be hard to develop that practice, and the strength through the foot, and also the strength through and release through the toes as well. Okay, so let's just take a couple of breaths before we move on to the next drill. Okay, so our next drill is inversion strengthening. So you can make your way to standing, and you'll remember this from the controlled articular actions in your assessment at the beginning of the class when we were working turning the sole of the foot in to invert the foot. So here we're going to do that. So from feet up width, turn the left foot in and just lean in, back off. Leaning in and backing off. Good, so just starting to give more weight to the side of the foot. Good, which is putting a little bit of healthy strain on your ligaments, which helps them to strengthen. And your tendons also to adapt. Nice, a few more. Good. And then you can set your left foot down, turn your right foot out and lean in, back off. Leaning in. Good. Nice. Very good. So from here, we're going to take your right foot down and come back to the ground. And take a cobbler's pose. So cobbler's pose, again, you're on the outer edge of that foot. Now again, this is optional.
If you feel you're ready to do this, you can work with me. So we're just again starting to load the inversion action through the foot. So we'll start off by taking your hands on bricks and lifting your hips up and then just tipping forward. And so your knees and hips are raised on the ground and you can hold. And then slowly come back. Good. And then if you feel able, you could use no blocks, tip forward and take your hands to the ground in front. And then maybe come to a tip. And then slowly back. Yeah, so again, you might be like, oh, I love this. Or you might be like, oh my God, no way. So please do be careful. There's nothing wrong with what we're doing. Our feet have all the capacity to make these movements and to weight bear as we strengthen the end range through the ankle. However, you do need to build up to this slowly. So please listen to your body. So we'll do one more. Again, use your hands here or on your bricks if you need, or move from your core. And then slowly calming down. Nice. So now, just for fun, we're going to come back up to standing and see if we can lower into cobblers from that inverted foot position. This is, you may topple over, so make sure if you fall, you're just going to fall in your bum. You do have to be mindful of your ankles for sure. So you could also do this facing a wall and have your hands on a wall or a chair here. That's absolutely fine. In fact, it's probably a good idea to start off. Okay, so hands on the wall or chair. Turn the soles of the feet towards each other, leaning forward, hands on the wall or chair, and then back up. Yeah, we'll do a few reps. Exhale down. Inhale up. So just not all the way down, just into like chair position. Okay, and then from here, maybe lowering a little bit more. Maybe into your full cobblers, your balancing cobblers. And then if you can, come back up. Woo! And take the feet to the ground. Maybe one of those is enough. You can continue if you wish. Okay, so now we're going to just come back, just to balance that strong inversion. We're going to do one more squat, regular squat. We'll finish with a good malasana. Take the feet hip width, and from here, lowering down. Good. And then drop into your bum. And let's just come back into the controlled articular rotations, just a few little circles as our last movement. And this really just to counterbalance and to come back into your foot strength. And then changing size. And that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this class. Namaste.